Good morning, YouTube. What is good? Anybody up? Just want to pop in here. What's good? Faded Jean says, what's up? Sup? Wanted to pop in here real quick on a beautiful, beautiful Sunday morning in Rochester, New York. Sunny, nice and cool. What's up, bro? I see you out there making a change in the community. Bevels MMVB. Thank you. I appreciate that. Where you from? Where you tuning in from? I always like to ask. You don't got to say the exact town or city if you don't want, but at least the state. This is kind of loose here, so I apologize if this moves. From Roch, oh, cool, from the Rock. I appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in. Leslie Ortiz says, good morning, with these sun emoji, or that's a smiley face, right? And a coffee. Leslie's having her coffee. I'm not a big coffee drinker, Leslie. But I hope you enjoy a nice cup of coffee. How's the weather in Florida? That's a stupid question, I know. It's got to be beautiful down there, right? See if we get some folks on here. Usually I'm in the zone and ranting and, you know, going off on a rant. I do almost the same as you. I have a video that's going viral with 2 RPD officers harassing a young black male. I can send it to you later. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then Leslie said, thank you, too. Thank you. Yep, absolutely, Leslie. Oh, 82. I'm sorry. Leslie says it's 82 in Florida. Beautiful. So I wanted to do a little something different. Shout out to my man, Yeah Right. I don't know if he's on. Good friend. Good brother. Great family. I'm not sure if he's on, but wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed on a few things. Some of you saw, I wanted to hit on a couple things real quick, but also really what I wanted to do is, I haven't done a live in a while. I tried doing a live yesterday from this, from Brighton, New York. There was this car that flipped over, and I just ended up, I don't know if there was, sometimes it's just choppy. The lives come in choppy. So I just decided to do it, you know, straight, you know, video, which I uploaded later. And some of you probably caught that. Just a dangerous intersection in Brighton, New York, which is, again, for those of you not familiar with Rochester or this upstate New York area, Brighton, New York is a suburb of Rochester. So it's a town neighboring Rochester, New York. And there's an intersection called 12 Corners, because there's 4, 4, and 4. So it's like a triangle, basically. And just very dangerous. People are texting, distracted, and what makes it even more concerning is that there's 2 schools right there at the intersection, at one of the intersections, actually at 2 of the intersections. So at 8 corners right there, there's 2 schools. And so I wanted to hit on a few things. I wanted to start with the prostitution videos that I've been uploading. Some of you that are from Rochester, New York, may be familiar with the Lowell Avenue area. And those of you that are not from Rochester, watching from another city, another state, even another country, shout out to all my fans and all the Davy VTV fans in the UK, everyone overseas. Shout out to my man Jonathan. Haven't seen him pop up in a while. I believe from Manchester, England. Shout out to all the viewers across the pond, right? Like we say, or they say too. The prostitution videos, I wanted to hit on something. You know, sometimes things can come across, you know, especially everybody has their own style. It may come across like I'm being some jerk, or that, you know, over the top, or, oh, come on, Davey, you know, I had a couple messages saying leave the ladies alone and this and that. Look, I get that. I get that it's an addiction that these women have. I get that the way that they get to feed their habits is Faded Jeans said I was by Hudson and saw 4 prostitutes in the corner. Yep. Yeah, especially yeah, on the east side also, but especially the west side. It's kind of like, I don't know if I want to call it the red light district. I don't know, if Rochester necessarily has like big cities, but that is where most of the Johns come to solicit the prostitutes, is on the west side of the city, Lyle Avenue area. So what I wanted to hit on real quick, and I won't be long on this, is that, it's not about bashing these women. I get that it's an addiction. I'm not out there to ridicule anyone. I am out there simply to shine a light. Over the years, it's something that I've included several videos. One of them, the local radio stations here, about a year ago, maybe a little over a year, talked about, where I basically asked the same question: what is the Rochester, New York Police Department? What is the RPD doing about prostitution in the Lyle Avenue neighborhood? And over the years, neighbors and people that watch the show, and just Rochester residents, have reached out to me and have pointed out that the problem continues, that they don't feel enough is being done. So it's just one thing that I wanted to hit on. Part of having a YouTube channel and part of having my blog, for those of you that don't know, shameless plug here, the Davy V blog, is to try to shine a light on certain issues, right? And why else have a channel, right? If you don't use it as a platform. This is my platform, and the blog is my platform. And by the way, not to get out of context here, but the blog, there's a great piece on there by a former Rochester, New York police deputy chief, which that's big. That's like number 2 in charge. There's the chief. Usually the chain of commands in police departments is the chief. Then you have a deputy chief. Sometimes you have more. Here in Rochester, there's several deputy chiefs. Then you have, your lieutenants, your captains, your sergeants. I think I got that right on the way down. And then your patrol officers. So a deputy chief is pretty high up on the food link, to put it that way. So if you guys and girls haven't caught the article, I was gonna make a video about that. I should have made it, to be honest, because it's kind of like a big deal, but I also didn't want to be tooting my own horn. All right, fuck it, I'll toot it. Toot toot. But it is, it's something that something that is a big deal. Shout out to a viewer and a fan and a follower of the channel and the blog, who actually sent me an email and suggested that I, basically reach out to the deputy chief and ask her to, basically, in other words, not to get into a long story, encourage me to check out some of tweets that she had posted. She was with the Rochester, New York Police Department for 22 years. Again, her name is Anne-Marie Van Son, and I reached out to her, and she posted some tweets which was basically speaking out against the current system in place with the RPD, with the city, specifically with the 2 Rochester, New York cops who beat a black man so bad that they fractured his face. So again, not to get out of context, but back to the prostitution thing, I grew up on the city's west side. And, I was born here. Shout out to Miami, by the way, the 305, South Florida. I was born here, and right after I was born, we went to Miami, and I spent the first 9, almost 10 years of my childhood in Miami before moving back up to the Rock, to Rochester. ROC, the Rock, 585. And when we moved to the city's west side. And Lyle Avenue is located on the city's northwest side. And, so the prostitution has always been a problem. So it's not that I'm out there just trying to put these women down. I get that it's an addiction, and I understand that, and that's how they're out here feeding their habits, getting their drug money, is by basically, prostituting themselves. But I look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture is that, the mainstream news media is always quick to talk about the crime in the city, right? The drug dealing, the this, the that, the robberies, the murders. But there's a big aspect to crime that comes from the suburbs, that comes from surrounding towns, right, in the suburbs. And the majority, and I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it, and I don't care who agrees or disagrees, it's my opinion. Well, I don't care who disagrees. Those that agree, I appreciate it, but it's not about me. It's just a fact. The majority of the men soliciting prostitution are middle-aged white males. Okay, if you know a law enforcement officer, if you know a cop, if you have a uncle that's a cop, if you have a someone in your family that's law enforcement, ask them and see for yourself. The majority, and I guess it could vary. I know what I've seen, and I know from growing up in an area that has always been, and now it's worse than ever, filled with prostitution. I know that it's predominantly middle-aged white males who come from the surrounding towns, from the suburbs, to Rochester, to the city of Rochester, specifically to Lowell Avenue, to solicit prostitutes. Okay? So with that said, my whole thing about shining a spotlight and using my blog and my, really my YouTube channel as a platform is to shine a light on a problem that not only continues, but it's getting worse. And then here's the other aspect that nobody talks about, right? Or very few. The news will hardly ever talk about this. There's hardworking people feeding their families with businesses on Lowell Avenue. There's garages, there's restaurants, there's pizza shops, and basically there's a library. You know, one of the hottest, to put it for lack of putting it a better way, one of the most trafficked areas for prostitutes, including where they get picked up. There's a video that I have. Go look at my video. Prostitute negotiates price with John, or John negotiates price with prostitute, or whatever. That right there was right in front, right. And when I tell you right, I'm talking directly in front of the doors to a Rochester, New York public library where young children go to do their homework, where single dads and single moms or parents together take their kids to do homework. And right outside the doors, right directly, go look at the video, right outside the doors of this public library on Lowell Avenue in the city of Rochester, there's prostitutes up and down getting picked up by, again, predominantly white suburban males, middle-aged white suburban males. I got another video that shows the Grounds Guys, which is a landscaping company, okay, and I believe it's a national company with franchises. And basically, a male was picking up a prostitute, excuse me, in a company truck. So that was a little further down from Lowell, but still on Rochester's northwest side. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'll stop the rant here because I don't want to get too much into the whole prostitute thing. But my point is, it's not to ridicule anyone. It's not that I don't realize and I don't understand that it's an addiction and these women have an addiction. I get that, right? But that's not the focus of what I'm trying to do. The focus of what I'm trying to do is shine a light on a problem that is fueled by suburban white males that come into the city of Rochester predominantly. Also, to shine a light that this prostitution, it's like cogs in a wheel. It's a cycle. Okay? And the prostitutes are a major part of the illegal drug trade in the city of Rochester, New York. And the reason I say that is because they are in large part fueling illegal drugs, the illegal drug trade. They're out there working, selling their bodies, renting their bodies out, however you want to call it, to get their fix, to get money, which in turn they take to the drug dealers, the trap houses, the drug houses to buy drugs. So it's a vicious cycle, and they're a major part of it. But it's not even about that. Like I said, you have this prostitution and these prostitutes doing what they do right in front of children. In fact, in the video about the Grounds Guys, you can see the prostitute getting picked up by the John in the Grounds Guys landscaping company vehicle, pickup truck. And a school bus goes right by. Go watch the video. As she's getting picked up, a bus goes right by. So again, I'll stop now, but that's basically what I'm trying to do, is shine a light on a problem that continues and has been there for years, ever since I was a kid. Prostitution in the Louth Avenue, especially neighborhood, has been a huge problem. Now, jumping to um, there's a video I have and I hit on it a little while ago, of the accident in Rochester and Brighton, New York. Now, about a week and a half ago, give or take a few days, a young girl was hit in Brighton, New York, 12-year-old girl riding her bicycle. Uh, and, there's distracted drivers, there's texting. She was hit in that 12 Corners area. Actually, she was going to 12 Corners, where there's a shopping plaza, pizza place, stuff like that. And she was hit by a car. She's okay, thankfully. I think she got a broken leg. But still, not to downplay, it's still very serious to get struck by a car, especially a child. And, me and Brighton, New York police officer, police chief, Mark Henderson, we've had disagreements in the past, civil disagreements, but obviously we don't see eye to eye on stuff. But in the video, if you get to see the video, I also talk about how, I think he's getting undue criticism that's not deserved. Criticism that's not deserved. Community, people in the Brighton community have, come hard on him, saying, criticizing for the traffic and the distracted drivers and the accidents. And, a police chief can only do so much. I know, trust me, I know that the Brighton cops are out there to catch speeders, to catch texters, people that's texting, to catch distracted drivers. I know because I see it all the time. Trust me. They even got motorcycles out there. And this is not now. They've always had traffic detail. That's I always joke, that's one of the main things going on in Brighton is if you come to Brighton, make sure your insurance is up to date, your registration, your car, your license, because you will get stopped. You know what I mean? That's just how it is out there. I mean, these small towns, suburban towns, they're very big on, and this is one thing that me and the chief will disagree on, but obviously, no department will ever admit that there's a quota. And again, I'm not going to get into that. But just know that if you go to Brighton, New York, specifically Brighton, New York, okay, or any other suburb, but I'm talking about Brighton. And those from Rochester, I'm sure know, just make sure you're on point when it comes to your car, your registration, your inspection, because they will stop you. So this thing about people saying that the chief is not on the ball, or he's not, paying attention, or, they're not really addressing traffic and distracted drivers in the 12 Corners area, that's bullshit. Straight up fucking bullshit, because I see it myself. And again, here's the thing. I'm sure the chief, I've talked to him. I'm sure he's no fan of, the channel and Davy V and the whole thing. But I got to be honest, his door has always been open, which leads me to my next thing I'll talk about in a minute. The chief's door has always been open to me. He's always been accessible. Always been accessible. Unlike other chiefs in Monroe County, unlike Rochester, New York Police Chief Simonelli, who never even had the respect to return a phone call. Okay? Even when I reached out to him and his secretary about, stalkers stalking my children at school, threatening my daughter, Chief Simonelli never even had the respect to reach out to me. And if anything, if you look at some of my old videos where I confront not only the mayor, but the chief in press conferences and ask questions, you can see his face, completely disrespectful, mocking. Go look at some of them videos. I put one up the other day where I'm a throwback video for Throwback Thursday. Go look at some of those old videos and you'll see how disrespectful Chief Simonelli was. Not only in ignoring my questions, but not even answering my calls when I called him, when I called his office. So Brighton, New York Police Chief Mark Henderson has always been accessible, his door has always been open. I can literally walk right into the Brighton, New York police station on Elmwood Avenue in Brighton, New York. And if the chief is there, he will come out and talk to me. That's how accessible. I'm going to make a whole video on that, but I'm hitting on a few things here and catching y'all up a little bit because I haven't done a live in a while. So again, so that's that. The other thing, which connects with Brighton Police Chief, excuse me, is a lot of you probably saw the video by now where a Brighton, New York cop, Officer Clouston, not sure how you spell it because he refused to spell it for me. which was very unprofessional, I thought. Go look at the video. It'll be down a little bit, because it was a few days ago. Why did Brighton, New York cop follow me home, or Brighton, New York cop follows me home? And basically, I'm not going to get into, because the video's there. I also did a live. I'm not going to give you the background. Go watch the video for yourselves. It'll be more interesting that way. But as far as that video, I did speak to the chief. I didn't want to turn it into a gotcha moment, so I didn't really throw the camera in his face like I'm known to do. And that's just something that I use my own discretion when I deal with law enforcement. I always record the conversation. I recommend you do too. But it's not one of these things that I'm probably going to post. It wasn't like, right in his face. Even he joked. He said, me, you, two men, no cameras. And I told him, I'd still record the conversation. But, again, I wasn't looking for a it wasn't about that. It was literally two men sitting down. Two fathers. Actually, he told me he was a grandfather now. We talked. I let him know my concerns. I let him know that I didn't appreciate being followed home. And what was that about? He gave me his word that he would look into it and get back to me. So I'll update everyone on that. But again, the biggest thing about Brighton, New York Police Chief is Mark Henderson is accessibility. We hear about all this community policing and this and that, but talk the talk. You know what I mean? And walk the walk. In other words, some people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And with Brighton, New York Police Chief Mark Henderson, he has always been accessible. Always. So, all right, I don't want to bore everyone. Anyone got any shout outs? Anybody got any, I'm sitting actually in a shopping plaza here. But shout out to my man, Yeah Right again. I don't think he's out there. He ain't come on. That's about it. You know what I mean? I enjoy the lives. I'll keep doing. I'll keep coming on here, and I'll give y'all some updates soon. I'm gonna go enjoy this beautiful day. Actually, I'm lying. I'm gonna go do laundry. I'm gonna go here and buy laundry detergent and go wash some. Go do some wash. But regardless, I hope y'all have a great day. Love each and every one of y'all. Thank you always for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the channel by watching. Faded Gene, I got to go. I'm going to church. No doubt. Absolutely. I respect that. And have a great day. Thank you for tuning in. Peace. Peace out. All right, everybody. Enjoy your day. Love y'all. Thank you for watching.